I never told my son about my $40,000 monthly salary. Yeah, you heard that right. $40,000 a month. And yet, to him, I was just
Mom.
the woman who wore the same coat every winter. The woman who clipped coupons. The woman who said, "Don't waste money, baby. You never know when life flips." Marcus grew up thinking we were just getting by. Not struggling, but definitely not rich. And I let him believe that. See, I didn't raise my son to worship money. I raised him to respect people. To say yes ma'am and no sir. To hold doors. To never judge somebody based on what they wear. Because I knew something most people don't. It exposes it. I had spent 20 years climbing a corporate ladder most people wouldn't survive a week on. Boardrooms. Negotiations. Backstabbing executives with million-dollar smiles. I learned one thing real quick. Backhand index pointing right, the louder someone talks about money. Backhand index pointing right, the emptier they usually are. So I stayed quiet. No flashy cars. No luxury penthouses. No designer nonsense. Just a small apartment. A simple life. And a bank account that could shock the hell out of anybody. Marcus never questioned it.
And honestly,
that made me proud. Because it meant I did my job right. Telephone receiver, the call that changed everything. It was a Tuesday afternoon when my phone rang. Mom. Right away, I knew something was off. That tone? Yeah, that was his "I messed up, but I need a favor" voice. What's going on, Marcus? He hesitated. Simone's parents are in town. I leaned back in my chair. Here we go. And I asked. They want to meet you. Silence. Not the comfortable kind. The kind that says more than words ever could. We're going to dinner Saturday, he added quickly. It's kind of important. Important. That word hit different. Do they know about me? I asked. Another pause. Longer this time. Then, I told them you're simple. Simple. That word landed like a slap. Not because it was wrong, but because of what it meant. Simple equals not impressive. Simple equals not wealthy. Simple equals not worthy. I closed my eyes for a second. Then I said calmly, I'll be there. But the moment I hung up, I already knew. Backhand index pointing right, this wasn't just dinner. Backhand index pointing right, this was going to be a test. And I had a feeling they were about to fail it. I stood in my living room, looking around. Same couch. Same table. Same quiet life. And suddenly I made a decision. A bold one. A dangerous one. Light bulb, if they think I'm poor, then I'll show them exactly what they expect. I was gonna walk in there looking like heavy check mark broke. Heavy check mark tired. Heavy check mark invisible. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to see something. Backhand index pointing right, how do people treat you? When they think you have nothing. That's where truth lives. Not in smiles. Not in handshakes. But in how they treat the person they think can't benefit them. And I needed to know what kind of family my son married into. Saturday came. And I didn't dress to impress. Oh no. I dressed to disappear. Wrinkled gray dress. Old shoes with worn-out soles. No makeup. No jewelry. Hair tied back messy. I looked in the mirror. And honestly, even I barely recognized myself. I looked like life had chewed me up and spit me back out. Perfect, I whispered. The taxi pulled up to the restaurant. And yeah, this place? Different level. Valet parking. Soft golden lights. People dressed like they just walked off a runway. The kind of spot where the menu doesn't show prices. Because if you gotta ask, you don't belong. I stepped out,
took a breath,
and walked in. And that's when I saw them. Marcus, nervous, stiff. Simone, flawless, but tense. And then, her parents, sitting there like royalty, waiting, judging. And the moment their eyes landed on me, I saw it. That look. You know the one. That quick scan from head to toe. That silent calculation. That instant decision. Backhand index pointing right, she's beneath us. And just like that, the game began. Mom, you made it, Marcus said, forcing a smile. I gave him a soft one back. Of course, baby. Simone kissed my cheek. Cold.
Quick.
like she didn't want to smudge her makeup. Then she introduced me. Mom, Dad, this is Marcus's mother. Her mother, Veronica, looked at me like I was something she accidentally stepped in. She smiled. But her eyes? Cold. Sharp. Nice to meet you. Her handshake was weak. Dismissive. Like I didn't matter. Her husband, Franklin? Same energy. And right then, I knew. This was going exactly where I thought it would. The waiter handed us menus.
Fancy. French.
Overpriced. I pretended to struggle. I don't really understand this, I said softly. Veronica smirked. Oh, of course. Then she said it. The first real shot. I'll order something simple for you. Simple again. But this time, it didn't sting. Because now, I was watching.
Studying.
Waiting. And, oh, they had no idea what was coming. The moment Veronica took control of that menu, I knew exactly what kind of night this was going to be. She didn't even look at me when she ordered. 4 glasses of your best red, she told the waiter. Then casually added, oh, and make sure it's the 2015 Bordeaux. She glanced at me. That one's about $200 a bottle, but when you understand quality, you don't really think about price. There it was. First flex.
Clean. Polished.
Passive-aggressive. I just smiled softly. Must be nice. Franklin chuckled. It is. Marcus shifted in his seat. Simone looked down.
And me?
I stayed quiet. Because people like them? They don't stop at one. Veronica leaned forward slightly. So, what exactly do you do? Her tone? Sweet on the outside. Venom underneath. I work in an office, I said quietly. Just paperwork, small things. She nodded slowly. Administrative. That tone again. Like she just confirmed everything she assumed. Well, she added, smiling politely, there's dignity in all work. Translation? You're beneath us, but we'll tolerate you. I nodded. Of course. The food arrived. Tiny portions. Big plates. Ridiculous prices. Veronica lifted her fork like she was performing for an audience. This steak is $80, she said casually. But you can taste the difference. She looked at me. You understand, right? Quality matters. I nodded again. Of course. Inside, I was already done with her. Then came the real moment. The one that told me everything I needed to know. Veronica put her fork down. Looked straight at Marcus. Then at me. So, does your mother live alone? Marcus nodded. Yes. She turned back to me, with that fake sympathy face. That must be hard at your age. There it was. Backhand index pointing right age. Backhand index pointing right loneliness. Backhand index pointing right weakness. And your salary, she continued. Is it enough to survive? Survive. Not live. Not enjoy. Not thrive. Just survive. I lowered my eyes slightly. I manage. Veronica sighed dramatically. Oh, you're very brave.
Brave.
That word? It wasn't praise. It was pity. Then she switched gears. Now it was time to show her world. We've always made sure Simone had the best, she said proudly. Private schools.
Travel.
Opportunities. Franklin nodded. We believe in investing in family. Then Veronica hit the target. When Simone and Marcus got married, she smiled. We helped them quite a bit. Marcus stiffened. Simone stayed quiet. We gave them $40,000 for their home.
Pause.
Let that sink in. And $15,000 for their honeymoon. She looked at me, directly. And you? Silence. Were you able to help? That question? That wasn't curiosity. That was judgment. I smiled softly. Just a small gift. Veronica nodded slowly. How sweet. Then came the knife. It's not about the amount, of course.
Pause.
Smile. It's about what you're able to give.
Boom.
Face with steam from nose, Marcus breaking inside. I saw it. Marcus's hands clenched under the table, his jaw tight. But he didn't speak. And that hurt me more than anything she said. Because I didn't raise him to stay quiet in moments like that. But I understood. He was stuck between his wife and his mother.
Dessert came.
Gold flakes. Tiny portions. Overpriced nonsense. Veronica smiled again. This one's $30, she said. Luxury is in the details. Then she leaned in slightly and dropped the bomb. I think we should talk openly as family. Marcus immediately tensed. Mom. She raised her hand. No, let me finish. And then
She went for it.
Era, she said gently. I respect what you've done, raising Marcus alone. Fake respect. You can always hear it. But now he's married.
Pause.
He has responsibilities. Another pause. And we don't want unnecessary burdens affecting his marriage. There it was. Clear. Sharp. Undeniable. Backhand index pointing right. I was the burden. Simone looked frozen. Marcus looked like he might explode. And me? I stayed still. Because now, we had reached the real reason for this dinner. Veronica took a breath. Then said it. We'd like to help you. Help. I'm sure things are difficult for you financially. She smiled. So, we're willing to give you a monthly allowance. Silence. Something modest, maybe $500, $700. And then, in return, here it comes. We'd appreciate if you gave Marcus and Simone space.
Pause.
Didn't depend on them too much.
Pause.
And allowed them to build their life without interference. There it was. No more masks. No more pretending. Backhand index pointing right, they were trying to pay me to disappear. To vanish. To stop being part of my own son's life. For $700 a month. Ice cubed the silence before the storm. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke.
Marcus looked at me. Panicked.
Simone looked like she wanted to cry. Veronica? She looked confident. Like she had just solved a problem. And me? I picked up my glass of water.
Took a slow sip.
And smiled. Because now the game was over. And the truth was about to walk into that room. Like a storm they were not ready for. That $700 offer? Yeah, that was the last straw. I placed my glass down slowly. No shaking. No hesitation. Then I leaned back in my chair. And for the first time that night, I stopped acting. The timid voice?
Gone.
The nervous smile?
Gone.
Now, they were about to meet the real me. That's a very interesting offer, I said calmly. Veronica smiled. Victorious. Like she just closed a deal. I'm glad you see it that way.
Oh.
She had no idea. I tilted my head slightly. Just so I understand. How much did you say again?
She didn't hesitate.
$500, maybe $700. I nodded slowly. So, I leaned forward just a little. $700 a month for me to disappear from my son's life? Her smile faded. I wouldn't phrase it like that. But that is what you mean. I cut in. Silence.
The air changed. Heavy.
For the first time, Veronica looked uncomfortable. I kept going.
Calm.
Controlled.
Precise.
You said you helped Marcus and Simone, right? She nodded. Of course. How much for the house? $40,000. And the honeymoon? $15,000. I nodded. So about $55,000 total. She smiled again.
Proud.
We believe in supporting our children. I leaned in closer, locked eyes with her. And what exactly did that buy you? Her smile froze. Excuse me? Did it buy you respect? I asked. Silence. Did it buy you love? Nothing. Or did it just buy control? Franklin shifted. Marcus stared at me like he didn't recognize me anymore. Simone looked frozen. Veronica's voice tightened. I think you're being disrespectful. I smiled slightly.
No.
I'm being honest. I sat up straight. Fully. No more pretending, I said. And just like that, the entire energy of the table flipped. You've spent this whole night talking about money, I continued. Prices. Investments. Status. But you never once asked me who I am. Dead silence. You just decided my value based on my clothes. Her face tightened. And apparently, I paused. I'm worth $700 a month. Then I dropped it.
Calm.
Clear.
Cold.
I make $40,000 a month. Nothing. No reaction. Because their brains hadn't caught up yet. So, I repeated it. I earn $40,000 every month. Marcus dropped his fork. Simone gasped. Franklin blinked like his system crashed. And Veronica? She just stared at me, like I had just spoken another language. That's not possible, she said. I didn't raise my voice.
Didn't defend.
I'm a regional director for a multinational company. I manage operations across multiple countries. I handle budgets bigger than your entire investment portfolio. Silence.
Pure. Total.
Silence. Marcus whispered. Mom, what? I looked at him softly. I never told you, because you didn't need to know. I wanted you to grow up without depending on money. I wanted you to become a man, not a spoiled heir. His eyes filled. I thought you were struggling. I smiled gently. I let you think that. This is ridiculous, Veronica snapped. If you had that kind of money, we would know. I turned to her slowly. You didn't know, because you never looked beyond appearances. I live simply because I choose to. I don't need to prove anything to anyone. I don't need designer labels. I don't need validation. And I definitely don't need. I paused. Your $700.
Now?
Everything had flipped. The woman who looked down on me was now avoiding eye contact. The man who sat like a king was silent. And the son who thought he knew me was seeing me for the first time. I reached into my old, worn-out bag, pulled out a card, black, heavy. I placed it on the table. This is my corporate card. Unlimited limit. Pay for dinner. Consider it a gift. I looked directly at Veronica. From a broke woman. Veronica's hand trembled slightly. She picked up the card, looked at it, then looked at me. And for the first time that night, she didn't look powerful. She looked small. I didn't need your pity, I said quietly. But you gave it anyway. So now,
take this.
Call it balance. Man standing Marcus steps in. Mom.
His voice cracked.
I'm sorry. I stood up. It's not your fault. Then I looked at Simone. You didn't stop it. Tears rolled down her face. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize, I said.
Just learn. Door walking away. I picked up my bag, turned around, and started walking, because I was done. Done pretending. Done tolerating. Done being underestimated. And, behind me, silence. The kind of silence that only happens when truth hits harder than pride. I had just turned to leave, when everything took one last twist. The waiter walked up quietly, placed the bill on the table, and stepped back. No one moved. Not Marcus. Not Simone. Not even Veronica. Finally, Franklin cleared his throat, trying to regain control. I'll take care of it. Of course he would. Because men like him, they don't lose control. They buy it back. He pulled out his card. Gold.
Flashy. Loud.
Placed it down. Confident. The waiter took it. Walked away. Seconds passed. Then a minute. Then, the waiter came back. Sir, I'm sorry.
Pause.
This card was declined. Silence. Franklin blinked. What? It didn't go through, sir. That's impossible, Franklin snapped. Tried again. The waiter nodded. Tried again. Came back. Still declined. Now, the room shifted again. Veronica leaned in. Use another card. Franklin pulled out a second one. Less confident this time. Same result.
Declined.
Now he stood up. Angry. Embarrassed. This is ridiculous. I'm calling the bank. He walked away. And for the first time that night, Veronica looked scared. Not annoyed. Not judgmental.
Scared.
I slowly turned back toward the table. Strange timing, I said calmly. No sarcasm. No emotion. Just truth. Veronica didn't respond. Because now, she knew exactly what this felt like. Backhand index pointing right helpless. Backhand index pointing right exposed. Backhand index pointing right small. The same way she tried to make me feel.
Marcus looked at me.
Mom, I can pay. No, I said. I reached into my wallet again. This time, I pulled out something different. A centurion card. Heavy. Metal.
Rare.
I placed it on the table, and Veronica's eyes widened instantly. She recognized it.
Of course she did.
People like her? They study status symbols. That's... She whispered. Yes, I said calmly. It is. The waiter returned, picked it up carefully.
Like it meant something.
2 minutes later, he came back. Everything is taken care of, ma'am. Simple.
Clean. Done.
No drama. No struggle. Just handled. I stood up again, looked at Veronica. This dinner was about $800.
Pause.
That's slightly more than your offer. She didn't respond, because there was nothing left to say. Simone started crying. Really crying this time. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I looked at her. Softer now. I know, but you saw it. And you stayed quiet. She nodded, tears falling. I won't again. I studied her for a moment. Then I said,
Good.
Flex biceps. Marcus steps up. Marcus walked over, stood beside me. I'm done with this, he said. His voice.
Different now.
Stronger. You don't get to disrespect my mother. Veronica looked at him, shocked. Marcus. No, he cut in. You don't get to control our lives with money. You don't get to decide who matters. Silence. For the first time, her own daughter and son-in-law stood against her, and she had nothing to buy her way out of it. I picked up my bag, walked toward the door, and this time, I didn't look back right away, because I didn't need to. I had already seen everything. Crescent moon outside, freedom. The night air hit different.
Cool.
Quiet.
Real.
Marcus followed me out. Mom. I turned. I'm sorry. I shook my head.
No.
You learned. That's enough. I looked him in the eyes. You saw two types of people tonight. People who use money to control, and people who use it to live.
Pause.
You choose which one you become. He nodded slowly. I know which one I choose. I got into the car.
Looked out the window one last time.
Marcus standing there, thinking, changing, growing, and I smiled, because in the end, this was never about money. It was about truth, about respect, about showing that light bulb real wealth isn't what you have. Light bulb, it's how you treat people who have nothing. If this story hit you, drop a comment. Backhand index pointing right, where are you watching from?
And tell me.
Backhand index pointing right, would you have done the same thing? Don't forget to thumbs up, like, subscribe, and share for more real-life stories with powerful lessons.